Hello everyone from Tony the Scarred Ghost. Today I have this very sexy voice because I got a cold going to Lausanne to try one of the most interesting technologies that I've tried in the latest years. I'm talking about lightfield displays provided by the Swiss startup CREAL, written as CREAL. So Serial is a company that entered my radars when Benjamin Lang, my review hero from Road to VR, tried it at CES 2019, if I remember well. And basically, more than a display, more than a light field display, it was just a big box, big black box on a table. You could put an eye close to it. I was like, wow. You could see some virtual elements seemed believable. That the visuals were a bit like in real life. They could put focus with the detail on the various objects in the scene. He said it was the best implementation of light fields ever tried in his life. But actually, the story of Syria starts from before, from when in 2017, Thomas Zluka founds the company to try to push the creation of displays for immersive realities that feel believable. And the company has grown, it has some initial difficulties like all startups, then they started getting some funding. And last year they got like something like $7 million in funding. That may seem a lot of money, but actually is the bare minimum to push what they're doing. They try to get a new kind of displays, as I show you in a moment. And they're using this money in a very smart way because there are like 20 people in the company, but 20 people selected as very big talents that were surrounding them. So they are in the EFL, that is like one of the most important tech university of the world. So they're inside that campus looking at the best talents. And they were able also to attract some talents from Magic Leap and other companies in the field. So in these years, they managed to go from some prototypes and then arrive to create this big box, and then they're trying to slim it down. So their purpose was starting for the big box, and they promised for this year to have some kind of big headset, like a VR headset with this dimension or something like that. You will see the picture later on. And then they wanted to create at the end of next year very slim glasses, both for AR and VR, with their light field display technology. Until now, the company has had only positive reviews by the journalists, and it always behaved like in a very I don't know how to say that. They never overpromise. They provided a serious timeline and they're respecting it. Now there are some difficulties for the chip shortages, but actually they managed to fulfill what they promised for this year because they made me try the headset they announced will have arrived in 2021. So they're just prototypes, they're not products, and they don't even want to create headset of their own. They want to create this display technology and provide a reference design to other companies, like can be Apple, can be Facebook, to implement inside their devices. So I spent something like one day in Lausanne with Thomas, Alex, Giovanni, and all the other people in the team of Syria, and I noticed that there was like a very good atmosphere inside that. The team was always very kind, very supportive. They tried to help me trying the products. So I think it's also a good place where to work. And they made me try the product. So let me tell you why I think it's a very interesting company. Before, let me explain to you 1 second what are lightfields technologies. So what is a lightfield display? So basically how vision works in current VR headsets. You have a display or two displays, one with image for the left eye, one with image for the right eye. But they're just like standard display. Yeah, for AR there is waveguides, for VR they're just 2D panels, but let's imagine for clarity that everything is like in VR. So you have these like two panels in front of your eyes, and they show to your eyes the left and right images, and your brain reconstruct a 3D scene. We already use it to play games like Go, Beat Saber, and it's so believable, so cool, we love VR. But the problem is your eye see all the lights on the display because our eyes just work by getting light rays and interpreting them. So the eyes have the internal sensors that detect the light, pass information to the brain that reconstruct our reality. So when you have two displays in front of your eyes, the displays are fixed distance that, thanks to the lenses, get projected like 1, 2, 3 meters away, depending on the technology. And basically what happens, the display is the one that emits the light. And your eyes get see the light rays all coming from the display. It means that your eyes can only focus on that distance to see the three elements. This is what is called the divergence accommodance conflict. So basically your eyes see the 3D elements like in real life, and they can like move to look at various elements in the scene, both the close one and the distant one. By moving, you see that the eyes can move to focus on an object. And this works pretty well with the current stereoscopy. The problem is that the lens that inside the eye that can contract, can do this movement to focus on different distances, to bend the light rays, to focus them on the fovea, see always the light coming from the same position, even if you're looking at a virtual element that actually is 5 meters away or 50 centimeters away. The lens is just fixed on the display because that is the position where the light rays come from. So for the brain, this is pretty weird because in real life, when you look at something distant, the lens changes this way. When you look something close, the lens changes this way, and so the movement of the eyes and the movement of the lens is coherent. With VR and AR, at the moment, it is not coherent, and you can see it, for instance, that when you try a HoloLens, if I put a virtual element like here on my hand, if I focus on the virtual element, I have to focus on where is the display. That is not where is my hand. So either I focus on my hand or I focus on display. Also, it's difficult to focus when we are on close objects, or you can focus on them but you see them very blurred. So, or it's difficult also to move your eyes, and in some headsets have a coherent representation of the virtual element. So these are the problems of current stereoscopy. Current stereoscopy is enough, but it's not as we see in real life. And these problems make the virtual elements that we see less realistic. And also, on the long run, the divergence accommodance problem can cause some health issues like eye strain or dizziness, whatever, because your brain goes in confusion about how it has to interpret these signals. So, how light field displays work? They don't have like a display that emits light, but they try to recreate around you the light rays that will arrive to your eyes if the virtual elements that you want to show were real. So basically, if now that I'm seeing the computer, the webcam, I have light rays coming towards my eyes, light fields just to recreate the exact ray intensity, direction, position that arrive to my eyes, and just cast these light rays towards my eyes. This way, we have, for our eyes, it is the same as if the scene was real, because it's not a display that just, casts light in all directions. It is like I got light rays, like in real life. Exact the same intensity, the same direction, color, blah blah blah. So we're talking about recreating the light in the scene, basically, and cast it directly to the eyes. This is not an easy task. It is not a solved problem to recreate something that is identical in real life, but there are some companies like CREAL that are working in making it work. So CREAL is trying to innovate these light field displays, trying to create an effective solution that makes you have this kind of light fields without having too much bandwidth and needing too much computational power. They work basically this way. So since you know where is the virtual elements in the scene, they try and they know where are the eyes when you wear the headset. Basically, you know the position of the eyes, what can be. They just take an array of position close to the eyes, like here, 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 here. So basically a preset of points, and try to understand what will be the light rays seen from that point close to the eye of the scene depicted in VR. So there is various optic modules, appearing light array, a light modulator, etc., that create light rays and bend them so they arrive to the eyes in that point how they will be in real life. And the innovation of CREAL is that they don't, as it is usually done in light fields now, they don't have lots of points with very low resolution, but have a few points but with very high resolution of the light field. So it is like you try to reconstruct for some points around the eye what are the exact light fields, light rays that will arrive there, and use like some optics to cast these light rays in that directions. What happens is that around your eye you have an approximated reconstruction of what would have been the light rays in real life. Actually, in this point close to my eyes, how the rays will be. So I have this some rays around it, and my brain that knows that I have to reconstruct reality for the very inefficient detections on the eyes is able to reconstruct through these eyes how is the scene in reality. So basically this is why CREAL is so cool, because since you have light rays like in real life, your eyes lens can really bend to modify the light directions, the light rays direction, and make them focus on your fovea like it does in real life, because the light rays come a different orientation depending on how the virtual element is distant, like in real life. So it is an approximation of the light rays you have in real life. So I said a lot of time light rays, real life, etc. But I guess you got the concept of how it works. So after all these optical explanations, it's time for me to tell you how it's been my experience with CREAL in Lausanne. So when I was there, I was able to try two prototypes, a VR one and an AR one. We started with the AR one, and basically it was like, you can see in some pictures that I'm showing you here, it was something like a 3D printed rough HoloLens. So it was white and blue, like a cone here, I could wear it, and I could change with some dials the eye relief, the IPD, and also make it fit on my head. So it was connected to a PC, so it was not a standalone device, and I turned it on and let me see the CREAL logo so that I could change all the parameters of this knob so to see the logo in front of my eyes. And I was super excited because I never tried light fields in my life and I've always been curious about it. So when they started showing me the scene, I saw the 3D elements in front of me and it really looked like a HoloLens. So the field of view was around 55 degrees diagonal. The elements were quite transparent. There were virtual elements in front of me. The tracking was more or less working. And the first impression also because the element was like 1.5 meters in front of me, like the focus distance that you have on the virtual elements of a HoloLens. I was like, what's new here? I couldn't understand actually what was new. I imagined when that the moment I would have tried light fields, my brain could explode, like wow. But actually I saw it, I said, yeah, it's an augmentation. But then I started looking at it a bit better, I started moving a bit, and I understood what was the magic. So I'm not making this video with all these reasons about light fields to say, hey, CREAL's making a new HoloLens. Actually, is much more, much better. What happened in this moment? Why I didn't notice it immediately? Because our brain is used to see elements with light rays, and seeing virtual elements light rays for my brain was not something new. It was so natural. I could look at it, I could focus on it, and my brain was saying, hey, there's nothing special. I focus on elements all the day. But actually, thinking a bit more about it, I was like, yeah, but usually I don't do this in AR. I have like a fixed focus for the virtual elements, and it was weird moving forward, moving backward. I could still focus on it. I focus on it like in real life. And then I could put my hand like this, thanks to ultra-leap tracking, and a virtual bird arrived here, and I could put it close to my eyes and keep it on focus at full resolution. And this is something totally impossible with the HoloLens or other thing that you can't put objects too close to you. I could move around the room, and keep that object in focus with my eyes. So it was not that I was keeping a fixed field of view, fixed focus, but I could really focus at different distances. And I could also take the bird like here and see the other objects or distant and focus before on this and then on that, and see the other objects becoming blurred like it happens in real life. So it's not fake, it's just that your vision see it blurred because you're not focusing on them. So I was not smart enough to take some videos, but I'm showing you some videos taken from the CREAL website, much better than mine, because you see this shift of focus, and it's pretty amazing. Also, I really could move naturally and focus on stuff like it happens normally. So it was really so normal. It was so special because it was so normal. And the moment that I really realized how is powerful this possibility of having objects at different focus, when we tried the demo from Inverse, that Inverse made together with Serial, and I could see the CTO Alex of the company that was in front of a Kinect moving, and I could see his volumetric avatar in front of me in AR. In the beginning, it was like, okay, I've seen some videos, volumetric videos on HoloLens as well. Again, it was similar until he was like this. Then at a certain moment he does this, hey, take this. So when he says take this, his hand of course is very distant from his body, so it's another kind of focus plane. And I could see in the augmentation like the hand really going with true depth in front of him. And that was pretty mind-blowing. It's like when you go from 2D cinema to 3D cinema, and you go to the 3D cinema watching a horror movie, and at a certain point you see the hand with a killer going outside the display, with making everyone in the audience get crazy. It was very similar. It was like he was able to break the wall of fixed focus that we used to in AR. I could see his body being at different depths. And looking at all the other objects, I could see all the nuances of the depth of all the elements. It was another demo with something like a virus, like a coronavirus, and I could see like all the spike proteins being a slightly different depth from the other. So it's like objects become more 3D. So it's like they become more vivid, more real, they have more the nuances of that. It's impossible to show this in a video because it's even difficult to explain, but it's like you really go from augmentations that are like flat to augmentations that are like completely 3D with all the nuances of 3D, that your brain truly identifies them as 3D. And that was really mind-blowing. Even if it was just a prototype, so this is not a commercial unit, and it has some problems. So the field of view is limited, the augmentations are a bit transparent. My eyes felt a bit of strain in focusing on these virtual elements, and then the CEO Thomas explained me that was because they're fixing some things in the glasses. So it was not exactly like in real life. There is still a lot of work to do. But the fact I could really see the virtual elements with all the coming to life, with all their true depth, with a full resolution, it was amazing. And you could see that the display technology is different because you don't see pixels. When I get very very close with my eyes to the augmentations, I could see that they are made like by pulsating little dots. And this was another thing that should be improved, because when you get really close you see these pulsating dots. But so it has to be improved in the future, but is in a way different than the usual kind of pixels that you can see in the other AR or VR headset. It was also cool that I could put something on my hand and put on focus both my real hands and the virtual object that was on top of that. This is something possible with HoloLens, because you have to focus on the fixed focus plane for the virtual elements, so you can't focus on the real ones unless you are like 1.5 meters in front of you. So this was for the AR demo, and after the 2 first seconds of light, what's so special, I was like, wow, this is something that really is the future of AR in VR. As for the virtual reality demo, they made me try a big headset. It was like the biggest and heaviest headset I've ever tried. I call it the brick because it is like a yellow and black brick that you put on your head, again, with lots of knobs, with ultra lip tracking for the hands, etc. Again, connected to a PC. And basically, they made me try a VR demo. And it was something similar to Vario. So for every eye, there was two displays. One, there was like the Viral one, and the other one, in the full VR, there was the special lightfield display with around 30 degrees of field of view. And my feedback is very similar to the one of the AR experience. So within the 30 degrees of the fovea region, I could see virtual elements that had high, very high resolution, very high definition. I could put them in focus with my eyes. Again, I could see some little grains, 30 degrees is not enough. This light field display was like a bit blackish, so it was not completely bright like the other head display of the Vive Pro, etc. But it was incredible, especially, I was in a cockpit of a spaceship, and I could see outside of the window like a droid making this trajectory. So it went from my peripheral vision, and I could see it in stereoscopy with decent resolution. They entered my center region with the light field display, and I even don't know how to explain it. It's like it came to life. So you could see it in full resolution with a full 3D nuances. It is like it was real, like it from fake reality to real reality. It was like incredible because again I could see all the nuances of the depth, I could see it in very high resolution, and it was like incredible. It was probably the most realistic thing I've seen in VR in my life, and again it felt so natural focusing on it with my eyes, and I can't explain as well why it felt so real. I mean, the technical explanation is because the light rays coming from it were like the ones that would come in real life. But unless you try it, you really don't understand it because it seems maybe bullshit that I say, oh, it feels so real, wow, amazing. But actually, you know that I'm very objective. And while it was not perfect, there are still also things to do, and this display was really so heavy. It's not ready for prime time. But I can't forget the moment I see this spaceship coming to life and being so completely 3D, completely full resolution. I say, wow, this is really the future of VR. So that's it for my experience with CREAL. And as I said, I think it's one of the most interesting XR startups here in Europe. I think that there's more funding, that there's more attention from the XR community, and I hope that more hardware manufacturers will try to contact them. I also think that it will be acquired in some years by Facebook, Apple, all these kind of companies, because I could see that, not only technology is cool, but also the people inside are cool, are very smart, and with, limited means, anyway, following the roadmap and arriving to deliver what they promised. Trying it, I understood that it's still a prototype. I'm a techie, I know what prototypes is, I know that they're very crappy, but I can see the potential. And the potential was huge because I never tried similar realistic AR in VR. I also tried the Vario XR3 inside the company, and it's a great device. Everyone says that here on YouTube. But while its reality is mind-blowing, the one from Vario, I don't know how to say that. Even if there's super high resolution, probably it lacks that kind of realistic vision with the light field. And this is something that I think in few years will start becoming the future of VR. So really, if you want to support Serial, go to the website, spread the word about what you're doing, and if you are an hardware manufacturers, try to contact them to see if you can find a collaboration. I really can't wait for the end of next year, or maybe 2023, because I guess the chip shortage is getting some delays, to see the very light AR headset implementing the serial lightfield display. So I'm sorry for not super enthusiastic today, and my voice is a bit like this, but shit happens. I have a bad call, but I really wanted to talk with you about this technology because I think it's amazing. Please, if you like this exclusive preview of Serial, like this video, subscribe to my channel, send me big hugs to make me feel better, and I wish you a great day in VR. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.